Alright, so now I'm going to actually add something to these menu display, game over display, and HUD display so we can actually see that this state is changing in the actual game. So I'm just going to go up to game object, create other, go to GUI text, and make sure that's under my menu display. I'm going to call this game title. And we'll call the name Angry Flappers. I'm going to choose a font here. And the Huggable is included in your resources folder. We're going to set this to the middle center. And adjust it upwards a little bit. Set the text size to be a little bit larger. Alright, that looks good. And let's go ahead and just duplicate that. Move it down just a little bit. Make the font size smaller. And let's type in click to play. Alright. Save that. Let's duplicate it again. But let's grab the game title and go to the game over display. Let's type in game over. Move this guy up to about there. I'm going to change the color to red. Now I'm going to duplicate that again, create another label. We'll call this final score. And let's move it down just below the game over, make it a little bit smaller. Let's go with the yellow. Alright, that looks good. And I typed in final wrong. Fix that. And now we've got just one more. We're going to duplicate that final score and take it over to the HUD display. I'm going to change this to the upper left. We'll just keep it down here in the bottom corner. That works. Move it to lower left. I'm going to change the color to black. Alright, that looks good. So now we want to make it to where whenever you click, when it's in the menu state, to execute the play command. So to do this, let's right click on our view, go to open, Angry Flappers game view. Let's just go in our public void and create an update method. And here we can do if Angry Flappers game state is equal to menu, and let's do if input dot get mouse down, set it to 0, and we can call execute play. And since our Angry Flappers game view represents Angry Flappers game, hence the little wire here, we'll have all of its commands generated with the format execute and then the command name. So any view that represents this game will have these methods. Makes it very easy to invoke them. Alright, so let's save that. Wait for it to compile. And now when we run the game, click to play, and you can see the menu switches. Alright, so now we want to go to our ground view, and we want to adjust this. Let's move it down. Alright, that looks good. Now we want to make this continually scroll. So we've already created our ground view here. So all we need to do with this is just make sure you select your ground and go to add to selection. So now our view for the ground is here. Let's go ahead and hit apply. Store it to our prefab. Let's open up this view. And I'm just going to copy and paste a small snippet to make things move a little faster. So just so you know what it's doing, it's checking to make sure that we're in the playing state, because we don't want the ground to move when we're in the game over or menu state. Then I'm just applying a transform position, and once it reaches -20, it resets to the right side of the screen, and it just continually moves to the left. This will give us that continuous scrolling effect. So I'm going to save that, and now I'm going to duplicate this ground. Let's move it up here together. Since that's duplicated, I'm going to move the X position over to the right so it tiles up very nicely there. Alright, let's apply that. Alright, so now let's go to our game view. And since our ground view is moving at the Angry Flappers game scroll speed, we need to set that in our inspector. But first, I'm going to run it and find a value that makes sense. I'm going to click play, and I'm going to move it over till I find a good speed that feels like it makes sense. Alright, I think 5.5 will do the trick. So let's stop that. Go ahead and put 5.5 in the scroll speed. I'm going to grab the value of the X here so it knows exactly where to place it. And copy that here to where it resets the X position. So now let's run it again. Now when I click to play, he's moving along.